Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Happy, what is today? Tuesday? Friday? What is today? Is it Friday?
It's Friday.
It is Friday. I'm so confused. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
TGIF.
Yes. Woo.
Partying. Gonna get down on Friday.
Gonna party. Welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where we are here with a couple of very special guests, and we're going to talk about something that's kind of a little controversial, I feel like, out there in the world, and that is e-cigarettes and vaping and all of that stuff. And so welcome our friends from Search. And if they don't know, could you tell everybody who you are?
Well, I'm Marsha and I'm the Regional Community Health Worker for the Jackson County Health Department under Search.
I'm Sam Canterbury. I'm the Community Health Worker in Meigs County.
That's right.
Extraordinaire.
Yes. and all around good cooker as well, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
a little.
No, a lot.
So off the air, we had this discussion with Sam. And so if you remember when Sam was here, I think it was last time or the time before, and you were interviewing Dylan about his vegetable not eating.
Yeah, I think it's like almost every segment.
Yeah, I think it is. I feel like we talk about food, and Dylan refuses to try any vegetables.
Yes.
So we have finally come up with an idea where Sam will come on the show, and we're going to do a cooking segment, and then we're going to force Dylan to eat vegetables, and he's going to like it.
Yes. It'll have bacon, so it'll kind of help him ease into
bacon.
it, right?
Okay, I think I can go
Yeah,
for some
bacon.
bacon.
I mean, I'm just going to say you could put bacon on a shoe, and it would be good, so, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's important, right? Even if you have a child, like, just kind of presenting it to them in something that's, familiar, maybe, right? Familiar flavor. And then it's like, all right, well, I got you to eat this one little green bean.
Exactly, because it's slathered in bacon.
The bacon,
And
green
bacon
bean.
grease.
Yeah,
and
it just
stuff.
helps it all slide down.
You're just
a
gonna
little
cook
easier.
the entire green beans in bacon grease.
Isn't that how you cook bacon or beans?
Should.
Yeah. How about a smoothie with vegetables in it? Would you do that?
Oh,
I think it depends what vegetables are in it. Like, am I gonna drink it and like feel a leaf
you
go
wouldn't
through
have
the
a
straw?
clue.
It would just taste like sweet deliciousness.
Or like carrot cake would have a vegetable in it?
Are you against carrot
Zucchini
cake?
bread?
I am against carrot cake.
Oh my goodness.
So
That's nuts.
there was a big debate at the restaurant the other day that carrot cake does not have carrots in it, and I'm like,
It's baking 101.
Yeah.
it has
It
carrots.
does have carrots.
in
It
it.
does have carrots.
Yep.
Yes, carrot cake has carrots.
Yeah,
in
not
it.
just
Right.
a little.
I don't
like,
know what your
fondant.
mother's told you
Right.
so that you would eat it, but it does. I promise have
Yeah.
carrots in it.
It's not just the decoration on top.
No.
A little baby carrot.
Oh, I hate to break it to you all that think that you're not eating a vegetable, but you are, and it's delicious.
Right.
So,
No, they're not.
And it's good for your eyeballs, right? Carrots
Yeah.
are good for
that
your eyes.
No.
might be true. My vision is not very good.
I take umbrage with that. When I was a little girl, all I did was eat carrots, and I can't see a lick at all. So I don't believe that.
I had
Or maybe I would have been even more not be able to see if blind if
Yeah, it could
if
have been
I hadn't
worse.
eaten all those carrots.
I was a freshman in high school, and we had this science teacher, and she said that, right? Like, oh, you eat carrots. But then, like, by the time I was a junior, she had slightly turned orange. Like,
She had turned
cigarettes?
orange.
yeah, she had ate so
Is
many
that a
carrots.
thing?
I don't know. It might just be something that I have in my head, but I'm pretty sure it
turned
was like a
orange.
thing. Yeah, like I just remember her like finger, like I don't know, yeah, like little. I don't know if that's really true. I just remember maybe it was just leftover orange nail polish, but
I mean, I just searched if you eat CA, and the auto search was if you eat carrots, do you turn orange?
What does it say?
The skin may begin to take on an orange hue, a condition known as caratinemia. Caratinemia.
What?
okay, so it's not in my head. All
Is
right.
a thing.
All
So
right.
then why are bunny rabbits not orange?
I mean, some of them are if you get the Easter ones.
True. Maybe that's just because bunny rabbits don't eat carrots all the time.
Yeah, you just if you to get this disease, you pretty much just have to eat carrots like every day, and you'll start to turn orange.
I
Wow.
wonder if that would make me look tan.
I mean, the photos just look tan. Yeah.
It's like OG glow.
Yeah.
Wait a
Get your
minute.
glow
Is
up.
is that why Donald Trump's orange?
Maybe. No, he does not eat vegetables. I
No,
promise you.
that's just.
He eats Kentucky Fried Chicken and.
Okay, I
stuff
was gonna
like
say
that.
that's just like powdered Cheeto dust, like that
Yeah.
he uses for
He just-
makeup,
yeah.
foundation.
Uses
Yeah,
a really
who eats Cheetos.
cool
Right
kabuki
click on
brush and
images
just.
of the disease. Donald Trump pops up.
He is very orange. That is
Yeah.
true. Why is that? I wonder what he does.
I'm telling you, it's the foundation that he puts on. It's made from Cheeto dust.
Cheeto dust.
I mean, it would
You
be.
can see the white
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes around there. So,
Could be caratinemia.
could be.
oh my goodness.
We'll go with that. How's
Yeah.
that? So this has been your segment for today from
All right,
Surge.
it's been great. Have a great day,
Thank you for
everybody.
tuning
Hope you have
in.
a good weekend. I'm out.
It's been wonderful talking to you too. All right. So we always get off on the weirdest
I tell
subjects.
ya.
I don't know why when you guys are here, but it's always a lot of fun. Okay. So I got, when I say my husband and I got a sheet in the mail the other day from, I think it was the Ohio Department of Health.
Mm-hmm.
And it said basically, due to new legislation passed, like the use of e-cigarettes, whatever, is a great big fat no-no in restaurants, bars, public places, whatever. Now, I don't know, it's due to legislation 42-72 point whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what was passed, but it specifically said that. And they sent us signs that for us to hang up, and it's like evidently required that you hang these things up inside. So there's a lot of controversy whether, vaping is smoking or vaping is not smoking, or when you're at a restaurant, you can just do that inside because you're not blowing smoke in someone's face. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. Some of the, I think, maybe misconceptions and also what it really means
Right.
for people to be vaping in your face or you doing it yourself. Is it
Right.
safer? Is it not safer? All that stuff. So I'll let you guys kind of start out the conversation
Okey-doke.
and because that's what we're here to talk about
Yeah.
today.
Well, I know when I first heard about e-cigarettes and vaping and stuff, I kept thinking it was like steam, like water. And
Because
it
that's
is.
what it appears to be.
Yeah, but it's not. It's
Okay.
Actually chemical vapors. And
Oh.
yeah. And so a lot of it have nicotine in it, so you're still going to get the same thing as cigarettes.
Okay.
But even when you blow that out, they're tiny particles, and you can get it secondhand. The chemicals and things, just like you would with cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean, it literally leaves a film on your car windshield. So
Okay.
if it's basically because it's all oil based, and so when you inhale that oil base, then it coats your lungs, and then when you exhale, then it coats your window shield, like your windshield, and you can literally see it. Like, take your finger, and it's just the same as even with cigarettes. Do the same thing. I mean, they put a film on your window from the tar and different stuff. So
Sure.
it's I don't know. One way it's safer, one way it's not. I think all it does really is cut down the smell, and that's in my opinion. But
So, and that's the thing. And the problem is as you said, there's no smell involved. Or if there is, it's typically a pleasant smell.
Right.
Like blueberry or, whatever fruit flavored madness that somebody
Yes.
is inhaling and then blowing in your face. But at the end of the day, it's not good
Right.
for you or the person that you're, doing that to.
Right. Exactly.
And I think a lot of people, it's easier for them to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
And that's
young.
why they're doing it inside.
Right.
And I think a lot that's why it's so attractive to the youth, right? Because I mean, I've heard stories of, I don't know, like people who I know have smoked like for a long time, right? Like since they were kids. I mean, I grew up in a very restricted household, so I didn't attempt to smoke a cigarette till I was like 18. But, I had friends when I was in middle school that were smoking, and, they had to hide it from the parents but if their parents smoked, then it was kind of easier.
Right.
Right,
Because
like
they
that-
didn't smell it so much. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, obviously now it can just kind of be hidden a little bit more. But it's still dangerous. I mean, nicotine affects, adolescent brains. I mean, just as much as sort of any chemical, because, in something that's developing, if you, infiltrate something that's developing, then it can stunt that development. And, yeah.
Makes sense. So the common theme between smoking cigarettes and the e-cigarettes obviously is the drug, and it is a drug, nicotine.
All right.
If you want to talk about tobacco and that it's farmed and all of that, nothing wrong with tobacco, right?
Right. Yeah.
But we get the nicotine put into the situation, and that is what people get addicted to.
Right.
And e-cigarettes have it, and regular cigarettes.
And on top of that, just all the other chemicals that they're, whether it's pesticides that they're using to, help the crops, grow to keep the bugs off or whatever it is. I mean, there's all that is like left over. I mean, we see that just from chemical leaching into the ground, right? Like from drinking water, right? So,
Correct.
I mean, it's going to leach into your body. I mean,
And
'cause-
also the fruit and vegetables that we eat, all of that stuff where,
Yeah. Yeah. I think too that this is even marketed to younger kids, with the fruit flavors,
very much.
things like that.
the bright
and,
colors.
Yeah. Right.
It's like candy almost.
Yes.
Like
yes.
literally.
Right. And on the research that I found, it was saying that, they spend, in 2019, they spent $8.2 billion aggressively marketing e-cigarettes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Which means they're making a lot of money on these suckers.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And this was been in 2019. It was saying that 70% of middle school and high school students have been exposed to it, and are doing it. And like you said, you could even put it on a little USB drive
Yep.
and smoke that way too.
Yeah, and I mean, well, okay, Dylan, you just graduated from high school last year. Is it a thing where kids, sneak the vapes?
I mean, I never really talked to a lot of people that did vape, but I would say so. I mean, there definitely was a fair amount of kids in the bathrooms at the beginning of class, like before classes and stuff, and my guess would be vaping, but I can't say for certain.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, as we mentioned before, nicotine, right? So you get addicted to nicotine, and then you're addicted, the same as you are to any other drug, whether
Right.
it be cocaine or meth or alcohol or whatever
Right.
it is. Then you're
Yeah.
addicted.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it said in 2019, 2.1 million youth, I'd be like middle school and high school kids, do e-cigarettes. So,
And no one, I don't think, really ever thinks about the dangers of, okay, so what these products are made out of, and they're electronic, right? So there are elements that are heating up through an electronic process, and these elements, if you're vaping something, right? Okay, so a lot of them are made from like aluminum or like a very, very cheap or thin metal or toxic metal even, right? And so anything that you heat up like that will actually get combusted into the vape, right? And so you're vaping these metals and different things as well. So I mean, it's it's not safe. You wouldn't smoke tobacco out of a pop can, I would hope. So why you wouldn't want to. This is, in my opinion, it's sort of the same thing. Like if you're gonna smoke, I mean, I'd rather you just like roll your own with like I don't know what American Spirit has, like organic.
Yeah.
Right. And so those claim to not have any sort of pesticides or anything like that. And I mean, there is a very rigorous. It's very rigorous to call something like the processing, what to call it. To be truly organic. Like there has to be like no pesticides in the field for like 8 years or something like that, right? So, they can make that claim, but I mean, how many other times has Big Tobacco or Big Pharma actually lied to us or marketed something as safe?
What?
I mean, just we could go on more even about that, right? But again, I mean, to each person, it's your own choice. I mean, to do what you want to do. But I think, as an adult, if you have a kid or if you're, a grandparent, and you have a grandchild, like you have a responsibility to try to keep your kids safe as possible. And so to warn them about the dangers of the vaping is just as dangerous as the use of tobacco, if not more.
And isn't that the whole point of, some of the campaigns that you guys run is to talk to your kids, like don't
communication.
Yeah. Like don't ignore the situation and say, oh, number one, my kid would never do that, or they just know better.
Right.
Have that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Talk about it.
Right. And I think in our area too, there hasn't been a lot of education on e-cigarettes.
No.
And so parents don't know. They thought or think it's safe. And so they need to educate themselves too that it isn't all that safe.
Well,
so
I mean,
that's why we like doing these types of campaigns, is to get that education out there.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And even adults, I mean, I think I'm 40, so I remember when the e-cigs were, first being brought out, there was I think blue was one of them. And then there was a point where you could just order like these different little things from, this website, and like they gave you these little cartridges and a little pen to put in.
Yeah.
Like there was just all these little things to do, and it created, for me, it was just more annoying. I'm like, oh, I just unwrap the pack and pop the top, and there we go, right? Whereas, I got to unscrew this, and
It's like thinking.
Yeah,
it's like work.
and then if you run out of juice, right, like your battery dies, and you're sitting there freaking out because you're like, oh my god, I don't have my. And then you see this, this like cycle of anxiety and everything, and then so if you're not talking to your children or your young teens about this, and what it's also doing, in my opinion, is it's just teaching them bad habits. So it's like, this is a way that, if I can't get this, then I'm going to be anxious and freak out because I don't have my safety blanket or whatever it is, right? Yeah. So, I mean, just being conscious about your daily decisions can kind of help. Keep you out, and just communicate. Again, communication is key.
Talk.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to talk to your kids, even if it's a weird subject.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Have that talk.
Right.
They'll appreciate it. They may act like you're the dumbest human on earth, but they're listening.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, it even all went. I mean, I remember probably about. Let's see. What is 23? I think it was around like 2019 or so, something like that, around the 18, 19. Even when, THC was becoming more legal in different states, like there was a big uproar about even the things that were being put into the vapes of those, right? And it's like, oh, well, so you've taken like a natural product such as cannabis or tobacco, and now you've chemically broken it down.
You've murdered it.
Yeah, you
like
basically
literally you've murdered it.
And you took you took a product that had no waste, and now you've created much more waste. We're mining for the battery, so that's even more big carbon footprint, right?
Yep.
You have all this plastic, all these metals, all these little like boxes that everything comes in, and it's like, you're just all you're doing is creating more trash, and it's more waste, and it just feeds into the society that we have is like a consumption society. And so, yeah, I don't know. Again, you can just go way off.
Well, there's a
into
lot
the
of
deep
different
end
directions
about this
that one could go on that, because you're exactly right. I mean, let's just be honest. People have been smoking marijuana for thousands of years, and, without vape pens and
Yeah.
whatever. It's almost like if you're going to do it naturally, but that's a whole other, as you said,
Yeah, I
discussion that we
mean,
could have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to each their own. Again, but I mean, I was just trying to like correlate, in the two, because I mean, I used to be in that industry a few years back, so it was like, we had to keep, watch out for those sort of things. I mean,
Yeah.
and even the testing of stuff is so rigorous, and like they make, there's like a parts per billion that's insane. So, it's like, okay, well, if you can't have X amount of chemicals while growing the plant for medical or commercial, why are we then taking that plant
Exactly.
and then breaking it down
And then doing it after the fact.
right? So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, so you tested it, it passed, the product did, but now we're
Because
just
you know why? Because there's a lot of people with a whole lot of money
Yes.
that make a whole lot of money off of
Right.
that. That's why.
Exactly.
exactly
It all comes down to money.
So yeah, so back to what I was saying earlier is obviously the state of Ohio has passed some legislation, which I was not aware of. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys are.
Yeah.
I was not aware till you said that.
Yeah,
But
me neither.
I
Must
should have
be
brought the
new.
letter in. Is what I should have done,
Yeah.
and we could have talked about it. But
fine.
it's a thing. So, and here's the deal. You've been in food service and whatnot also, and it's so. We passed a no smoking law. Oh my gosh, was it in 14 or something?
Yes,
like
a long time ago.
No, it was before that. It was
Yeah.
like what,
Wow.
6, 7, something
Somewhere
like
around
that.
there.
Yeah.
And you would have thought the world was going to come to an end, right?
I remember.
Oh my gosh, I can remember that, and that was a big adjustment and a big change, and it also it kind of put the enforcement of it in business owners' hands, and it wasn't
Right.
fair
Right.
to do that. But we all got through it and we moved on. And I feel like this is kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Because as a, business owner, you're walking through and you see somebody sitting at a table or whatever, hit the vape pen, blow it out, continue on with whatever. What do you do?
Yeah. Exactly.
It makes you the bad guy.
Right. Right.
Right, like you're almost infringing. It's another one of those like
It's
infringing on
infringing on
someone
my
else's
on my rights, but then the
right.
argument can be made, well, what about the rights of all the people that you're blowing that in their face? And
Right.
so I don't know what the solution is
Right.
to it. I know that I can tell the staff,
Yes.
you absolutely cannot be doing this, which we already had before all of this. But what am I supposed to do about customers?
I know.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not whining. I'm just saying because there's
Right.
a lot of other people in the same boat. But obviously legislation's been passed, and it's been passed for a reason because they believe that it's a safety factor.
Right. Yeah. And it boils down to people, that smoke themselves. You got to be respectful of other people. I mean, you can smoke in your car, in the home, you still can smoke or do whatever you want, but
Yeah, that's
you
not
need to be-
illegal.
right. But you need to be, responsible and respectful of others. Like people have asthma and different things
For
that
sh-
can't.
There's all
COPD.
kind of
Yeah,
yes.
COPD's a big one around here.
Yeah.
And you just need to think of others
And
as
especially
well.
if they're children. I mean, they can't. Maybe maybe there is a child that has asthma who is, say, in a baby carrier. They can't just get up and walk away
No,
from.
they
Right.
can't tell you
the section,
that
yeah.
they don't feel well.
Right. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just being conscious about other folks while also, being able to express your own personal rights. But it's like your rights shouldn't infringe upon others.
Other people's
Unless
rights,
it's.
yeah.
I mean, definitely if it's not like if it's hurting them, right? Like that's the whole idea. Is like we don't want to
right.
hurt. I mean, almost brings you back to the to the argument of whether we should have wore masks or not, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel
Because-
like here we go with
Right.
all of
Yes.
this again
Same
of,
thing,
of
right.
telling people what to do. You can make that argument that that's not okay, but you can also make the argument that
Right.
You know, it's forcing people to respect each other
Yes. Yes.
and just be good people. And if you can't be good people on your own, then we're going to have to legislate it.
Right. Yeah.
Right, I
It
mean,
just
it's-
seems like so many people need to. It's like they're almost childish. You know, it's like I want
Yeah.
to do what I want to
Certainly
do.
selfish and
Yeah.
childish. Yeah.
You know, and it reminds me of children. You know, when they
Yes.
want to.
2-year-olds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
fighting.
I want this, and I'm going to do it right now.
I'm
you know,
gonna
type of-
like hold my breath until I turn blue until you
yeah,
let me
exactly.
have my way.
And we need to act more like adults and responsible adults.
Yeah. Well, and
Respectful adults.
it
yeah.
is, and it goes back to the word that I use all the time here on the show, and it's empathy.
Yes.
And there's such a lack of that. I feel
There
like in
is.
humankind, and if we would all
Yeah.
just have a little more empathy for the things that you were saying, we did just go through a global pandemic of COVID. Many folks had lung damage because of it, heart
Yes.
damage because of it. We're still on the, we're still learning
Right.
about all of the stuff that this did to folks, and we don't know.
Yeah.
We have no idea. But what we do know is that if you're blowing smoke or whatever in somebody's face and they have these issues,
Right.
it could certainly not be good for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to hurt other people, or
Right.
And I think that's what people need to think of is the other person.
Yeah.
Be good to your neighbor.
That's right.
be
So
kind.
Yes.
Be
just
kind.
be kind. Be nice.
kind.
Be nice. I should have worn my shirt today.
Yeah, right.
So let's talk about, maybe you're just flipping addicted. Maybe you were, dumb and you started smoking when you were, 14, and you're like, my God, I've been doing this for 40 years and
Yeah.
I can't quit, and, whatever. Or I'm a dumb kid and I started sucking on this vape pen with my friends and now I'm addicted to it. What
Right.
do I do?
Yeah. There's.
I want to stop, but
right.
I can't.
There's a new hotline. It's called 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Okay.
And you could call that number, and they would, give you a lot of help for that. Check with your local health departments. Oops, I think I kicked you down there, didn't
You're good.
I? They have
Wake up, Sam.
they have smoking cessation programs. It's funded through grants
Okay.
that can help you. So, get a hold of someone, at the health department. If you're not sure, you can always call me. I'm through the Jackson County Health Department.
Just Marsha.
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 And my number is 740-935-6272. That sort of gets through to the health department maybe a little bit quicker than going through the menu. But yeah, we have programs that can help, and there's always people. We do have a clinic. It's a full-fledged clinic. We have a nurse practitioner, Kim. She's in there, and come in and talk to her. She can help. And
She's precious.
oh, I know, I love her.
Yeah.
She's so sweet. And so anyway, yeah, there's a number of places that you can go, to get help. Your doctor, if you go to a doctor, they can, get you help and
Okay.
prescribe medications and things if that's the route you want to go, because there's all kinds of ways to stop.
And the thing is, I think it's like any other drug. And again, cigarettes, nicotine is a drug that you get addicted to. And,
Right.
and it could be argued that it's the most addictive drug out there.
Right.
I've heard that argument before. It's very, very hard
Mm-hmm.
for people to stop it. But I think, isn't it, the first step is you making that decision that you really
Yes.
want to stop. And man, oh man, the willpower that it would take
Be hard, I think.
to
Yeah.
get off of,
I admire
that.
people that, can do that.
for sure.
Because any kind of addiction is just
It's rough.
really rough. Yeah. Yep.
And then you have like some stubborn person like my dad who said he was smoking one day. Everybody smoked back when we were, it
Yes.
was just a thing in the,
Yeah,
what,
it's the fad,
50s
yeah.
and 60s
Cool.
and whatever. I mean, you just did. Sorry. I kicked him now. You must have some big feet.
I do.
But no, he said one day he lit up a cigarette and he was driving and he started coughing. And he said, I literally, and don't do this at home, threw them out the window. And that was the end of that.
Yes.
And I never touched them again. And I was
Yes.
like, okay, most people don't have that willpower
Right.
to do that.
Yeah.
So if you need help, which most people do,
Right.
because we're all weak.
Yeah. And it's hard,
Well, there's so much. You have the mental, physical addiction. You have the mental addiction.
Right.
You have the, what to do with my hands thing. All
Right.
of that stuff. So
Exactly.
there's a whole lot that goes to
Right.
smoking.
As
Yep.
someone who has battled with quitting and getting back in, the hardest is the mental addiction, because after about 3 days, I mean, they call it the 3-day hump, but like your physical addiction sort of goes away, but your problems don't go away, right? Or the new, like whatever may pop up, right?
Yeah.
Like that made you like nervous to go smoke a cigarette.
It was
Yes.
a crutch for something.
Right.
Rush for something,
Right.
A habit for after something, such as, meals and, things like that, where, you wake up in the morning and you have your coffee and your cigarette in the morning. Like that's just that's the start
your
of your day.
routine.
It is.
Right.
And so it becomes part of that. And again, like this is where I go back to where I said earlier about the habits. I mean, one little habit can like change your whole entire world, and it's harder to stop that habit than it is to implement it. And but it's harder to implement good habits, right, than it is the negative habits, which is kind of wild to me.
It's
That's a
like
good
there's
point.
if it tastes good, it's not good for you, food
Yeah,
wise.
exactly.
Like,
I mean, I'm reading a book right now called Atomic Habits, so that's kind of why I keep, I guess, referring back to
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this is what,
Yeah.
as we're talking, I'm like, yeah, this is clicking, and so yeah, it all just sort of, it starts with that one little, and I mean, and for me, it started as boredom. Working in bars, being like a bouncer, and you're just standing there like all night.
like
And
what
so
do I do? I got to do
yeah.
something to
walk-
entertain myself.
You're pacing, you're walking, and back then again, like we could smoke inside, so it was just one of those. Oh well, I'm standing here. There's no need for me to go outside.
Yeah.
But then I transitioned into being a cook, and then, my God, I couldn't wait to get outside.
Because and
a cigarette is your break. Like
it gives you an excuse to have a break.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked in different restaurants, and it's almost the same everywhere. It's
The
either
restaurant business is notorious for that.
Oh, I remember my first job was at a Bob Evans, and I was living in West Virginia, and I remember like walking in, and you couldn't even go in, and I was 15 at the time, right? And so you could like go into the break room, and it was just like
Giant
clouds of smoke.
fog, yeah.
And I mean, I remember they asked us to like repaint the wall one day, and like so we like were cleaning it, but like all of the tar that was coming off,
Oh God,
it was terrible. I was like, holy cow, like this is brown in here, but this
is
was actually white.
inside my body right now.
Right.
And again, and then I used to make the joke like, oh, I'm going to go have a Coke break, because I drank Coca-Cola and I was 15. I thought I was funny, but it's
Which may or may not be as bad for you as cigarettes. but
Exactly,
That could be
right.
argued as well.
100%. And but they used to, because the rule was we weren't allowed to eat out front like where customers were.
Right.
And I'm sitting there going like, man, I'm 15. Like I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't want to go back here and my, whatever it is I'm eating. I think at the time it was the biscuits and gravy were like my thing, right? But I'm sitting there going, man, I'm like, I don't want my biscuits and gravy to taste like,
Right.
Ruth's,
Cigarettes,
GPC
yeah.
cigarettes or whatever. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember teacher lounges when you would go into the teacher staff room.
Oh.
Oh, it'd be like, can I see? I need to run some copies. I got to find it. Yeah, totally fogged up in there. But it was nice, really, once they, stopped that.
Yeah.
Because then, you could go in there and take a break.
And it was a transition, let's just
It was.
be honest.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a whole taking your rights away kind of situation.
Yes.
Because my argument was, as a business owner, it should be my prerogative whether I allow people to smoke or not smoke in there. And then you
Yeah.
suffer the consequences either way
Right.
of
Yeah.
that. My argument didn't go over very well. And I'm glad it didn't, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I didn't have to, anymore have to strip my clothes at the door and,
Yeah.
literally walk in my house and throw everything in the laundry and all that stuff. 'Cause
Right.
That was a,
Or I mean,
That
even
was the thing.
yourself going out to enjoy a Friday or Saturday night, like, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the night goes on till 2 or 3 in the morning, but that doesn't mean that you wake up the next day smelling like it.
oh
or-
God.
Oh, yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've just never been a fan of like, even when I like smoked, like I just wasn't a fan of inside or anything like that. I think the most part of inside was my car, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
usually the hardest.
Yeah.
If you're in a car for an hour or more, you're like, "Well, what am I doing?" And again, it goes back to boredom, right? It goes back to boredom. And
Sing a song, Sam.
yeah, right.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Listen to a book.
Play games. on
Yes.
your phone. That's
Not
what
while
I
you're
do.
driving, but
No,
Way to
when
go,
you're
Marsha.
parked and you're.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, I'm like, what's more dangerous
yeah.
to myself and others? Like,
We no, I can remember it was so interesting when the smoking thing first happened, and we, because at the time we had a restaurant down in Gallipolis, and as the night rolled on, it became more of a kind of a nightclub situation. It was like restaurant and then evolved into nightclub, so there was a lot of smoking going on in there.
Yeah.
And I can remember though going to the Cincinnati airport and going the night before, and my husband, this was after the smoking thing in Ohio, my husband, I didn't, if you don't know, the Cincinnati airport's in Kentucky.
Right.
Figure that one out. So I can remember we went down the night before, and we were staying in a hotel somewhere, and we went to like this bar and grill situation right by the hotel, went in for dinner, and the smoke was
Yes.
just rolling in there. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, we're in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
So, but it was really uncomfortable for us because, we were getting used to the fact that it wasn't inside. And so
Yeah.
I'm sure Kentucky has passed laws since then.
Yes.
This was years ago.
Yeah.
But it was like weird to go back to
It
that.
was. Yeah. I remember doing that too, going down there or, like
what is
Yeah.
going on? Why are they
Yeah,
smoking?
why are they
in here?
smoking?
Oh, we're in Kentucky.
I always thought it was funny too. I remember when Bob Evans had the old restaurant, and we go there, and they had one section for
Yeah, the
smoking and
smoking
one,
section.
and they were right there together.
Yes, like,
like-
from me to you, yeah.
Yeah,
Or planes.
yeah, yes.
Like, are you kidding me?
I know. Yeah, I remember thinking that was funny because it's like, what's
Buses
the
or,
yeah,
any of
what's
that
the
stuff.
point?
Yeah, doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
I'm glad those days are over.
Yeah. So, so what are some of the things? I mean, I guess there's so much to this whole situation because there's the let's not get it started situation, like talking
Right.
to your kids, having that whole conversation.
Right.
But once you've already gone over that hump, there's the do you want to quit or do you not want to
Right.
quit?
Right.
And if you don't want to quit, cool, but don't do it. Don't be blowing this stuff in other people's faces.
Right. Yeah.
And have that respect. And now that it's been passed into law, like,
Mm-hmm.
don't do it. You're breaking the law. And or there's the do you want to quit?
Right.
And how do
Yeah.
you do
Right.
that? What are some of the ways you mentioned? You can go to your doctor. You can go to the health department. What are some of the tools that people use effectively to stop smoking or
Yeah.
vaping?
Well, I think a lot of it is there's different plans that you can. It's like set a goal date. Like if you want to stop, like I'm going to stop, let's say next Monday,
Okay.
and do that. Don't take it that Monday.
Because there's a lot of reasons
Yeah.
for you to not stop smoking on Monday.
Right? Yeah.
So but you
And-
got to be,
Yeah. Or ease into it. Just smoke half a cigarette or whatever, and then stop until eventually you just start I guess lowering that amount
Okay.
every day. Sign a contract with yourself was one of the things to do. Set a
Okay.
goal date and then
Yourself
sell.
accountable.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I saw recently was that hypnosis is one of the highest forms of being able to quit. Like it has like the highest rate of like being able to
Wow.
quit, but it's only at 28% effective.
Okay.
Whereas
That's sad that that's a high,
like
you
that's
know, number.
that's one of the highest ones, and there's been
Oh,
some
wow.
other research as well. Not really. Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I just got to mention it, but it's like, they call them like the magic mushrooms or whatever, right? So there's been a lot of, in like other countries, there have been studies proving that is like basically next to that, it's effective up to like around 70 to 80% effective.
And that would be taking like a psychedelic kind of,
Right, but it's at very low dose.
but at very low dose.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to, I think I see Jesus, but it's like,
yeah, like
but it's such a low, what they call a microdose. And so what it does is just slowly over time, it changes the way that you are supposed to react to certain things and stuff like
well,
that. So.
listen, that's a whole other show that we could do with some. I would love to get somebody in here to talk about the psychedelic and drugs, because I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying they're finding out, and this is a whole other subject, that depression, anxiety, all of these things can be helped
Right.
with those things. And again, let's be honest, they've been doing them for years. They grow in the ground, and there's
Well,
natural
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
occur on Earth.
and they were
so.
heavily banned back in between like the 30s and 50s. And there's research showing, or articles showing that the research had stopped. It was back in the 50s, I believe, when the research stopped. And it was because when the U.S. government tried to do their own research, they found out that they could not control people while on these things, and it was having folks have their own thought process.
They
And
were-
so,
yeah.
these
Thinking outside the box.
right,
and-
these great soldiers who they had trained and made them the way that they wanted. Once they had turned them on, they call it. It's like they weren't wanting to respond to these. They were like, well, why should I follow these stupid rules? Like,
Yeah.
They're thinking for themselves.
they were
yeah.
literally
Right.
thinking for
Crazy.
themselves,
Right.
and so then that's when you started seeing all the bans on these sort of treatments. And there's a really good book. It's by a guy named Michael Pullman, and he has a book that is called How to Change Your Mind. And there's also he eventually turned his book into a episode series on Netflix, and it's called the same thing, like How to Change Your Mind.
Oh.
So it goes through like each of these sort of, whether it's the LSD or the mushrooms or the MDMA or whatever. Or I think they're even, I keep thinking they call it a K-hole, but I can't think of what that drug is. But I don't know why at the moment. But they're even doing low levels of that sort of therapy in order to help with depression and stuff. And so, he just kind of goes through and gives you the history of where these things sort of came from and how they sort of have been changing folks' mind. But
Yeah. Which,
it's a
again,
good series.
that's not what the heck we're here to
Right.
talk about today.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if it, something like that can help.
But don't limit your options is all I'm saying.
Correct. And that's what we're saying. Like, we're not advocating anything. It's just that there are alternatives out there to taking a pill to quit smoking, or
Right.
just having to be, this power person that is strong-minded and can do it.
Because I've been on Chantix before, because that's another drug that the doctors like to push, and
there's a lot
was
of side
bad.
effects of
it
some
was
of
bad.
that stuff.
It was
Yeah.
bad. I mean, I ended up in a tub, like in a bathtub, just wanting to end my life. Like, that's how bad that
Wow.
One of
that
my
took me anyway. Like,
Yeah,
and I've heard
right.
other stories and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but all the synthetic stuff that they're trying to push onto us is just
seems
terrible.
to me like if it grows in the ground, it can't be all that bad for the good Lord above
In
put
small
stuff on
doses,
this
though.
earth to
Right.
for us to be able to heal ourselves and whatever. I mean, that's just Jen's theory on it. But
Yeah.
so also acupuncture I've heard is a thing.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Which again, people have been doing for millions of years.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's probably something to
There's
it.
that- Right. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never gone through it before. I mean, I've been interested in possibly doing like some acupuncture, but yeah, I don't even know anyone personally. I don't think that I've ever discussed it with either. But
I've had acupuncture, but
Heard
for
of it.
pain, like
For-
shoulder pain or
Uh-huh.
something. It's really nice.
Basically, it just redirects your energy and your
Yeah.
chi and all that, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
And
And there you go, Tai Chi.
Mhm. There you
which
go.
I am having a class on
Okay.
Tuesday mornings at the Jackson Library
You are?
from 10 to 11. So, yeah.
She-
Come and do Tai Chi and chill out instead of
Is that the one where you do like the motions?
Mhm.
Like, okay.
real slow motions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, put a little plug in there for
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
meditation. That's
Yeah.
another. That's what it kind of runs in along with, right? Is meditation and just being present in your daily, because I think that's why these sort of habits are so prominent in our lives, is because we get into loops and we get into you know what I mean?
Get
Like
stuck.
you do, you get
Right.
You get
stuck,
stuck.
and that's where some of these other alternative treatments may also be helpful, because they kind of break the loop. They call it the snow globe effect sort of thing. So it's like, say, remember when you're a kid, you're on a hill and you see the sleigh riding, or, you're going to go ride your sled, and it's like, all right, well, they have this one track, right? Well, every time, it doesn't matter. I mean, even if you go to the left a little bit to start,
Yep.
you always get back on that
In
same
that
path,
track.
right?
Yep.
Because that's what's been laid down. I mean, and to sort of take it back to, like, these could be tracks that your parents laid for you as a kid. Like, it could be trauma. It could be
Yes.
anything that sort of directs you down this path. And what these alternative treatments do is what they call the snow globe effect, is they shake up the snow globe and it creates new snow so that you can try a new path. And
That
so,
makes sense.
Yeah.
and that's
nice.
again, that's
Totally.
kind of where it gets us in our loops. But
Yeah.
I think that's
We
it's
all
kinda
do get
helpful.
stuck in ruts, like
Oh,
literally,
yeah.
pun intended, literally.
Yes.
And sometimes you got to do something to get out. And that's why I think people need to go on vacations, because it gets you outside your box for a
Right.
moment.
But not everyone can afford vacations.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is why we get stuck into our
Which is
addictive
why we
loops,
get stuck
such as
into-
getting
Yeah.
drinking
Exact-
every weekend, because that is our vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our little 10-minute cigarette break outside from work, that's
That's
our
your little
that's our
vacation.
vacation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
But then that's creating that.
It is.
Right.
It's what the reptile eating itself, right? The snake eating its own tail. Like, it's just a continuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what sort of surprised me too was a lot of the information I found was the American Heart Association.
Okay.
Yeah, all the stuff that I ran off here, for our research was all from that. So, I think their point too was that, e-cigarettes, cigarettes itself, they affect your heart, your lungs,
No, they
all
don't.
that
It's
stuff.
just vapor. It's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. Yeah.
Nothing bad in those things.
Right. But it surprised me that it was on that, everything I found. So they have a lot of information. If you want to go on American Heart, Google it, American Heart Association, and they have all kinds of tips and things for trying to get, stop smoking and how to talk to your kids.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask. Is there literature or information that either you have or online?
Right.
Listen, parents talking to their kids is one of the hardest things in the world.
Yeah.
To do. And I don't have children, so I can't even profess to be, to tell y'all what to do with your kids. But I
Yeah.
can imagine that it's a very difficult thing to sit down and start that conversation.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, just talk, it'd be extremely hard if you were a smoker yourself, too.
Correct, because you're
You know.
being a hypocrite.
Yeah, right. So, they need to, set an example and try to stop smoking for, their children as
Yeah,
well.
and
But it's
heck,
just
I
hard.
mean, even
If
if you
you're a-
go from a pack a day to a half a pack a day, that's
Yeah.
progress. There's
Right.
no real level of,
Right.
Yeah,
because each person's different. So
Yeah.
there's no I think so many times we read this research and we see these things, and there's this bar that has been set, and it's like, oh, we have to reach this bar.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do it in 7 days, or we have to do it in 12 days, or we have to do it in 30.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, I mean, everybody's progress is different. Everybody's idea of success is different. So, again, if you were smoking a full pack a day, if you even go down to a half a pack a day, that is
Yeah.
mounds of
lot.
progress.
Don't be so
Right.
hard on
yeah,
yourself.
don't hurt
Exactly.
yourself.
It's like
There's always
recycling.
tomorrow.
I've always said, just pick 10 cans, like all, your pop cans, like
Yeah.
just recycle those if it's hard for you to, do the whole situation.
Right.
Anything helps. Anything
Yeah.
better than nothing.
And
Right.
again, it's those little changes that will eventually, if you go from a full pack to a half a pack, I mean, hell, you were smoking, 7 packs a week. I mean, you've gone down to what, 3.5? Like that's,
Yeah.
and that saves you money. So all those little implements.
That's a factor we haven't even discussed
Oh, yeah, the
today.
money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about the expense of
Oh my gosh.
or vaping.
Right.
I mean, an average pack of American Spirits is like $10.50 a pack now. I
Wait,
think.
shut up.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And Marlboro, I think, have raised up to almost 7 almost. So it's like 6 something a pack for those.
Wow.
Yeah.
For one little pack.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's
someone who does the
300
organic ones are, at 7 times or 10 times. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
so $75-ish a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you think, okay, I smoke a pack a day, that's $300 some a month.
And then you
Wow,
multiply
yeah.
that by 12, and then you're at $3,600
That's
a
like
year.
a car payment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like-
yes.
Or down payment.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Wow.
Again,
Interesting.
little changes can, it change like the whole entire large scale. I mean, it's kind of like the butterfly effect they talk about, right? Like
Sure.
a butterfly in, Australia can create a typhoon in Thailand or something. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
Well, and here, okay, so we were talking about ruts, and I mentioned vacations, and you said not everyone can afford a vacation. Okay, how about you play a game with yourself, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to go from this pack down to half a pack of cigarettes a day. I'm going to save myself $150, $160 a month, but I'm going to take that money because
and treat
I
yourself.
was spending it on,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
spending it anyway, and I'm going to put it into an account, and then I can take that cruise, or I can take
Yeah.
that, trip, the hiking trip that I was wanting to take, or
Right.
whatever. And
Exactly.
make that a game, like make it a reward for doing what you're doing.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
That seems like a really,
Yes.
fair thing. I was talking with someone, it's kind of the same thing, but not, talking about diapers.
Mm-hmm.
And people saying I can't afford to take my kid, put my kid through college, or whatever. But it's like, okay, so since your baby was born, you've bought diapers for that child, and you've afforded it somehow.
Right.
So continue to take that money, even if they're out of
Yes.
diapers, put it into an account. It's money that you've been spending anyway, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And many, many years later, there's that money sitting there.
Right.
So same with the cigarettes.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a
That's great.
reward.
I like that.
Yeah. It sounds so simple. Like why did
does.
why did we
in
not think of
theory-
that?
In theory, it is, but we're creatures of habit, and it's harder to, like I said in the beginning, it's harder to implement positive habits than it is.
Why
yeah,
is that?
bec-
Must take more work, I guess.
It's-
I don't
it's-
know.
It takes more conscious ability, and I mean, and
Yeah.
that,
Not as much
but
fun, I
but
guess.
these big corporations, they understand that, like they know
Yes.
that, they know.
Oh, they
they know-
prey.
Oh, they do. They know how we are. I mean, we.
We're weak individuals.
Right.
It's not even that. I don't think that we're weak as per se, but I just think that we've been trained. I mean, ever since we were kids, it's
Kind of brainwashed, if you
yeah,
will.
it
Yeah.
sort of is. Yeah,
Yeah.
just consume, and you want instant validation, and so or instant gratification. So when you get that cigarette, that's an instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to save up for that vacation, that's not instant, right? Because that
Well,
takes
that's
time.
You're
to-
right. That's
That's
a
true.
good way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just
Well,
they got us. They know.
They do.
They know what makes us tick.
Dang it. So
use that
smart.
money, go eat out, or
Yep,
get you something, go buy you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
like
like
vegetables.
yes, vegetables for Dylan. All the vegetables. We're gonna cook him up something good, aren't we, Sam?
We are. We've been talking about it, so we just
I
need
think
to.
Marsha should come in too.
Yeah, she's welcome.
We could do Tai Chi while we're waiting on the vegetables to cook.
I actually had a doctor's appointment the other day, and you know how like you go in the exam room and it was taking forever,
Uh-huh.
and and I didn't have my phone with me to sit there and play games or anything. So I just got up and started doing Tai Chi, and she walked in on me.
She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm lowering my blood pressure.
Yes, and it was good.
There you go. Maybe I need to do some of that.
Oh my gosh!
But-
Before we go,
Yeah,
not
we-
to change the subject,
Yeah.
but let me get this here. Make sure I got everything. I was talking to Josie Rader,
Yeah.
and love her.
Yep. Who
And-
doesn't?
So I want to plug some stuff that she has coming up.
Yeah.
In the community. They're going to be doing a fundraiser for a little boy. He's in Wellston, and he has a heart condition.
Okay.
And he'll need some heart surgery coming up. I think in March was the last time. But it's the beginning of what they're calling Galentine's Day.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm not real sure what that all entails, but I think we're going to, come on together, and she can talk more about
Very
that. But I
good.
wanted to put that little seed out there, and she says, come take a selfie in front of our selfie set for a donation or schedule to a headshot or a photograph with them.
Okay.
And she said they're going to be having a Leprechaun 5K with Temple Fitness in Wellston on maybe March 16th.
Okay.
That's just a tentative date. But you can go on to Temple Fitness Facebook page or Eventbrite and register if you're interested in that 5K.
Sure.
And they also are expanding their faith and fitness studio to Wellston.
Very cool.
So that's exciting. And they're going to be inside the shops on First Street across from Flowerland.
Love that.
So anyway, so I wanted to get that in there before we leave.
Yes. No, Josie and the gang there do so much good
Oh,
for the
man,
community
yeah.
and for, humankind in general. And
Yeah.
if you want to see a walking, talking ray of sunshine, flower, all of the things, it's Josie.
She's a spunker. let me
She
tell you.
is something else, that's for sure. And, we should all take a little bit of her and try to put it within our own selves.
Yeah,
'cause she's a
great.
good kid.
Yep.
Okay, well, is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on while you're here?
I think that's it. We do have the clinic at the health department in Jackson.
Okay.
We're still downtown. We haven't moved yet.
Yes.
So, if you are feeling sick, if you have a cold,
Like everybody?
yeah, any kind of a little medical issue, you can come in. We have a nurse practitioner, Kim, who is wonderful.
sweet.
Love her. And, you can call and come in. We can make appointment, or we take walk-ins too. And people with or without insurance, if you can't afford, to pay, you pay what you can. Or in some cases, we've, had to do, free for people that just can't afford health care.
Okay.
So, come on in and
Is that by appointment? Is that you just come in?
yeah, you can call and make an appointment, or you can just walk in
Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime?
anytime.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
deal.
if I'm not mistaken, I don't think she's in on Fridays,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
And here's
on
the
that.
thing,
I should have got
too,
that.
COVID vaccines,
Yes.
flu shots, all of the, I got my tetanus shot at the health department. Like,
Yes.
those are things that you need to keep up on, and time
Right.
10 years goes really quickly.
Right. Yeah.
So make sure
Yeah.
that you're up on that, especially if
Yeah.
you're in the restaurant business or
Right, yeah.
construction, something like that.
Yeah.
So you guys are there for all of those needs.
Right. Yeah. And I know there's a really bad flu going around right
Big
now.
time bad.
One of
flu.
our coworkers got it, and when she went to the doctor, they told her that they're not seeing people that had the flu shot. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I had my flu shot. She hadn't yet, and she really got sick. So
Okay.
they've been having a lot of people come in
Come
that
get that flu shot,
didn't
and it's
get
not too late.
vaccinated. No,
Like,
it
listen,
isn't.
it's like it goes back to what we were saying. Anything's better than nothing.
Yes,
so it's not too late,
exactly. Yeah,
and it kicks in a couple of weeks. So if you can
Right.
keep yourself healthy for a couple of weeks, you'll have
yeah,
that help.
exactly. So, and it's not a live virus either. So
Correct.
years ago, I had the live one and had a really bad reaction, so I was afraid to
Yeah.
get it. So this one fella at a different health department talked me into doing it. Didn't have any kind of reaction at all.
it's not.
And, You know, and I think
May hurt
it's
your
kin-
arm just a hair, but
Yeah,
no
I
big
don't
deal.
even think it did.
Not
that.
as bad as the tetanus shot, I promise you.
Yeah.
That is
Tetanus
no
shot,
fun.
Brutal.
Ooh,
Yeah,
it is
I mean-
rough.
Yes.
I had a bad reaction, and then I went back and looked at my records, and I had one the same way as a kid. Like I basically had a fever, I had like swollen arm, like
You're
I was
like, oh,
I was
okay.
down
This
and
is a
out for
thing.
2 days.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
was, it was bad.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
But
of
then
it.
I never had a reaction. You know, when I
Yeah.
so everyone's different, but
Yeah, we
it's
all are
still
different.
good to get them.
I never had a reaction to any of my COVID
Yeah.
vaccines, like
Yeah.
nothing. So
From
Yeah.
what I understand, it's worse to get tetanus than it is to get the shot. So.
yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely do not want the tetanus. I promise. I promise.
That's true. That's
It's like
true.
irreversible, I believe.
Ooh. Yeah, not good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right. Well, have a wonderful day, everyone. You're going to have to be without me next week. I apologize. Won't be in. And but Dylan has it all under control, don't you, Dylan? Sure. He's going to eat a new vegetable every day next week on the show.
That is never going to happen.
Sounded like a good idea anyway.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week. So have a great day. Have a great weekend and enjoy some like warmer weather.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Bye,
so.
everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye-bye.